Tento pořad sponzorují monitory Samsung Odyssey s QHD rozlišením pro maximální zážitek ze hry. Samsung.
Art, thank you very much for coming.
All good, bro?
Yeah, awesome. So, how are you enjoying Stockholm?
It's been nice. I like the cold, actually. Only not when I have to go outside, but inside I like it. I like to wear jackets, but it's been nice.
I want to talk to you about the Major, because you went through the Legend stage pretty dominantly, but it didn't work out against Gambit, so what happened?
They played just better. I think that's what happened. I think Gambit's a very strong team, and we had like little time to prepare since we changed lineup pretty recently. So I think that they were the favorites for a reason, you know. So we had to play like our best game to beat them, and we didn't manage to do it. On the Inferno map, I must say we played pretty well to come back, but we make like small mistakes. I make some small mistakes that cost us the game. So it was just little details where they can just snowball again because they have a strong overpass. So we kind of needed to win Inferno.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about Inferno because you had like a deficit like 15-11. Was it something you said to the team, or was it just your concentration that you came back, got through to the overtime, or what was it?
Actually, we are very confident on Inferno and most of city sides. So we have had comebacks in the past where we came back from like a huge lead for them as soon as we go for the first game rounds, and we managed to come back after round. So we have a pretty solid city side. So even if the score was like 15-11, I think that was, or 12, we kind of knew that we could come back. So I think everybody felt the same, you know. I was, of course, saying all the time, okay guys, every round, one more, let's go, we can do this, it's easy, play solid, you know. But the guys felt the same, we could beat them.
I also wanted to ask you about, because you were the only non-EU team in the playoffs, and not in the Legends, but in the playoffs. So how did it feel to be like the only ones, the outsiders pretty much?
Okay, yeah, of course it feels amazing to play a playoff, you know, so at this part is of course going to be very happy to be here, but at the same time I wish there would be more, at least a Brazilian team in the Legend stage, because if a Brazilian team is on the Legend stage, it means that for the next major we can get more spots in Brazil, and they're really deserved. There's a lot of strong teams there that have to go to NA to get more opportunity, you know, so it would be very nice to share the responsibility also of representing Brazil or even the entire America, you know. So of course that would be better for everybody, you know, having like a US represented or other countries from America. But at the same time, it just feels great to be able to go to the playoffs to carry the Brazil flag over there. But it's such an amazing feeling to play Major, you know. For us, it's a dream come true. So I don't know, it's hard to say anything bad about it, you know.
I also wanted to ask about this whole COVID thing, because you're from Brazil and most of the tournaments are played in a different time zone. So how was it for you? Did you have to travel to Europe, or how did it work for Furia as a whole?
Like Brazilians, they are used to being far from home, you know. Every Brazilian team that goes outside, they must stay like 1 year without going back to Brazil. So they have like 20 days vacation, even less sometimes for a year. So even though it's very hard, it's challenging, but we're quite used to being far from home. When pandemic started, we are at United States, on Miami, so where we play we have our base there. And we could not leave United States, because if you leave, we cannot come back because of the restrictions of the country. You know, they closed the borders, so we just had to stay there for like a whole year, because the tournaments are happening there, and we just cannot go to Europe because after like 6 months, I think they kind of region locked the tournaments. You know, there's no more traveling around. Who's NA play only NA tournaments? Who's Europe play Europe tournaments? So after that, it was a little like playing on studio on Europe. But life's going back to business right now, but the pandemic was very tough, but we managed to get through it because we are very used to deal with this, you know.
So now when life will come back, to how we know it, so are you going to be still based in behind the Great Ocean, or are you going to stay in Europe a bit more, or are you going to be just at home in Brazil?
Oh, that's a very far stretch. Wish going back to Brazil. I wish there would be an incentive for us to go back to Brazil, but there is not really, not even a single one. I wish we could play from home. It would be amazing. Like, I cannot even imagine how it is to be at your home with your family and then play CS, you know, and go back to your family and go out in the evenings. I don't know. That's something I missed, and it's not even a reality in my head anymore, you know. But I don't really know. We don't really know because we don't really know how it's gonna be. Because United States, it's still closed, you know. We are opening right now a little by little, but I don't know how it's gonna be in the next year, at the start of the year, if they're gonna have all tournaments back to United States. Because back then, what was happening was, before the pandemic, we are traveling to both regions a lot. Like, there are tournaments happening in Europe and United States, and every 2 weeks or so, we are traveling between. It's very tough, but it's nice for us to be able to play the biggest tournaments. So I don't know. It's gonna kind of depends on how the scene is gonna be. But for Furia, for me personally, whatever. I just want to play anywhere.
I think that's the best mindset for a player.
Yeah, China. Yeah, book me the plane. I'm going China. Let's go. I love China. Let's go.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Let's meet there.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask about Drop because he seemed very emotional after your loss against Gambit. So I think it's been the first big tournament for him. He's 17, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So what did you tell him afterwards? Because it must be very emotionally tough for a player just that young to have his first big game in front of the crowd and just miss the mark, or not miss the mark, just not be good enough.
Yeah, I try to Drop. He's a very young player, but he's very strong emotionally. Between the whole event, from RMR to here, all the way, there was just one single game that he choked. You know, that after one single map, he started the map down, and that was the only moment that I felt him down. It was against Tropic on the second map, or the third map, sorry. It was Ancient. And I just tried to make my best to boost him up, you know. And it worked because he has a very strong mindset. He's a very, very strong guy, even at his age. That's very impressive for me. So I think that was very emotional because not only he's very emotional, but it's a dream for him to be able to compete at this level so fast. So of course there's so much pressure on his shoulders to be able to be at the same level that we are, and even so that he didn't have enough time to prepare. He had to, you know, stick to the place he is. So that's so much pressure. I cannot even imagine it. So me and other Furia members, our coach, we are all trying to make him as comfortable as we possibly can, you know, and helping from every step. I talked to him before the game, after the game, try to get him to put the right mindset and give him tips on how to deal with the pressure. Because mostly for CS, the pressure is not in the game, in the server. It's before the game, you know. The anxiety, that's what ruins you, you know, puts you in a bad mood, bad mindset. He's not playing. So I tried to put everything into his head, and I think he did pretty well. I think his crying was mostly because of the whole thing, you know, not sadness, you know. It was more like the pressure and the happiness to be there. It's a dream for him as well. So every emotion together made him cry because of how big it is.
I think that the crowd had to have a massive impact on your mindsets of all of you, because it's the first big tournament with a crowd after a year or two. So how did it feel for you finally playing in front of the fans? Because I think you had many fans in there, because when they were cheering you on, that was massive. I was standing next to it and I thought I'm gonna be deaf in the moment.
Bro, the Brazilian fans are fucking awesome. Sorry for the word, they're awesome, you know. We could hear them when we are chiller in the TeamSpeak. We could hear them chanting names and screaming stuff, that Brazilian, you know, chants that we know from Brazil. So it's awesome. The feeling of hearing that definitely boosts you, you know, make you more confident, you know, that people are cheering for you and they believe you and they're so happy. It's awesome, bro. I have no words for that. I myself don't really feel any pressure about crowds, but when they are cheering for you and you can hear that, it's a boost comforter, you know. It's a comforter boost, actually, other way around. Yeah. So it's awesome.
And one more final question. What are your outlooks now? What are you looking forward to?
It's hard to say because for this year there is no Tier 1 tournaments for us planned. Of course they can probably pop up out of nowhere, but for now there's nothing in the horizon. So after this, we're gonna travel to Serbia, where we're gonna probably just full practice. You know, we're gonna focus on like a practice season for us. That we're gonna take the most time. If we have like some tier 2 tournaments that have the opportunity to play, I think we're gonna play just to not be far from, from official matches, because that's the best practice you can get, right? Playing officials. So I think we're gonna just try to practice the most we can to be able to put things together.
Okay, well, that's all from me. So thank you very much for having us, and I'm gonna wish you good luck to the future and to all the tournaments you're gonna visit.
Thank you very much, well, my pleasure.
Tento pořad sponzorují monitory Samsung Odyssey s QHD rozlišením pro maximální zážitek ze hry. Samsung.